Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Joelle and today I'm going to be doing a Cape Verde souvenir haul. So I didn't actually get too many souvenirs, but the ones that I did get are really cool in my opinion. And so I'm just going to do a kind of like little show and tell vibe. And a couple of them are gifts and the rest are mine. I don't know why my voice is croaking. Great timing. But anyways, let's get on with it. The first thing has actually got nothing to do with Cape Verde or like Africa or anything like that, but it is a hair bandana. And the reason why I got it is because I thought it was quite affordable. It was like €1.50, which is about, it's like near to £1 basically. And it's this cool chocolate brown colour, and if you know me, you know how much I love brown. So that is the first item, and I did actually wear it whilst I was in Cape Verde. I did like a cool like kind of, you know, when it's like, yeah, I did that. And I don't know how nice of a trigger it's gonna be, but this is a show and tell. It's not a trigger video, but it would be a lovely addition to the video if it made a good trigger as well. But yeah, this looks really cool when it's on your head. I'm not going to attempt to do it right now because that's not the purpose of this video. I would so put it on the microphone raw, but I'm a bit scared because the gain is a little bit higher than I had in the last couple of videos, and I don't want it to make a really loud, unpleasant noise. To kind of split up the triggers, I won't do another clothing item. I will show you the magnet that I got my mum whenever I go travelling. I always get my mum a magnet, and this one says Capo Verde, no stress, and it's this kind of glazed ceramic magnet, and I think it's really cool, and I like to pick magnets that really represent the country that I went to, and I feel like this one really represents it, because the women in Cape Verde and in a lot of African countries, they are very commonly walking around with these kind of baskets, especially on their heads, and they've got these really amazing cultural outfits on. And Capo Verde is another way of saying Cape Verde. I think Cape Verde is like kind of like the English version of Capo Verde. In Capo Verde, they speak Portuguese and Spanish, and French and English actually. So very interesting culture. It kind of reminded me of Morocco in the sense of having like 3 languages on the go. Like in Morocco, they speak French, Spanish, and Arabic, which I thought was really cool. And then they also have their own culture, which is like bourbons. Anyway, not to do with this video, don't mind me. On the side, it says no stress, and it's just funny because it's basically this very touristy slogan that all of the workers in Cape Verde, in the touristy shops and restaurants would say. They would incorporate it in all of their sentences and remarks. It was very funny, but also it kind of did add to the experience, like no stress, no stress. They would just always say like no stress. They'd be like 300 escudos, no stress. I got when I went into, I forgot the name for it in Cape Verde, but basically essentially what it was like these kind of, like, they're meant to be like traditional stalls, markets. They weren't traditional. There was nothing like local or authentic about it, let's be real. I'm not saying that like the locals don't make any of the stuff in these markets, like I don't want to assume anything, but what I will say when I show you the items that I got and I explain to you, this uncle, and this is quite common in Cape Verde, the uncles like quite often just sit on the streets or like rest their backs up against the street. So when they see a tourist, like their job within their town and their society is essentially to kind of persuade people and grab tourists back to their little shops and like stalls and stuff. And it's interesting because in Cape Verde, at least the town I was in Sal, which is the island of the Salt Lakes, and Santa Maria was the town I was staying in, and it's where this woman Maria brought in water for the first time into their town, and so she's really, really honoured there, and that's why the town's been called Santa Maria. But there's this massive like kind of idea that women are actually superior to men and kind of are just put on like, I don't know, they're just respected much more in Cape Verde, and I think that's really cool. There is a lot of kind of like harassment as well, but I won't put that on the locals. I'll actually say that a lot of the tourists I encountered from that trip were very, very interesting. I'm talking about like the men. But yeah, you do get a lot of remarks, you get a lot of beeping, you get a lot of noises, you get a lot of comments, but generally like the locals were really lovely. And anyways, so this one uncle, and I'm not saying that in a rude way, like genuinely an uncle, and that is what we call aunties and uncles in African countries. I have friends that are African and I call them their parents auntie and uncle. I don't mean that in any like offensive way, like that is what you call elders, for those who don't know. But yeah, so one uncle came up to me and my sister on the streets, and I was kind of like a little bit, because I was a bit on edge, because walking on the roads, like you get a lot of like, as I said, remarks and stuff, so it's a little bit like, you know. And he was like, no, like I'm not scary, I promise I'm not scary. He was like, let me just take you inside and give you a business card, and I was like, okay. Anyways, he takes us into those markets and he takes us to this massive stall of just like wooden, oh, that was probably very loud, wooden sculpted wood basically, and I was mind blown. I was like, whoa, I was really believing all the stories he was coming up with. He was like telling me about like each and every item and like their purpose and like how long it took him and like how he makes it and stuff. And to be honest, I did see a man in that market like with a hammer just like hammering down like a piece of wood, but I feel like he was only like doing like the finishing kind of detailing. I don't think he was making it like from scratch there, and I think he only did that because there was two tourists there. Like they were probably getting it from scratch, but it was like just, I don't know, but I'm not gonna judge. But anyways, the uncle was just probably like telling me all these stories and I was just completely believing them. So I brought two things from his little store, and to be honest, I really liked him. I thought he was a really nice guy. Him and the woman from the store next to him actually gave me two of these like little bracelets, which I gave one of them to my colleague, which I thought was just a cute touch. And you know what, I'm not mad, because at least it's going to an independent shop owner, you know. And to be honest, he didn't scam me because he just charged me what they charged in every other shop. So yeah, basically that's where I'm going with this, is that I then went into like all of the supermarkets. And when I say supermarket is a stretch. It's like a corner shop type of like market, type of like just convenience was the exact same price as everywhere else, so I wasn't that mad, because at least I was giving it to a guy that was like actually really chill and really nice. But yeah, it's a little tortoise ashtray made out of wood, which is a very interesting concept, because surely getting ash on wood is not going to be good. I mean, I know it will like obviously not set on fire, but like I don't know how it's gonna work, and it's not exactly glazed or anything, like it's just, but maybe you won't use it for cigarettes. I feel like you won't, you'll probably feel too bad and probably use it for like jewellery or something. That would be quite cool for jewellery actually, to be fair. But yeah, I think that's awesome. It's the one that I got for my room slash the house, because my mum doesn't want it downstairs because she's rude. Is supposedly meant to be like either a generic Cape Verdean woman or Maria of Santa Maria, because as I said, women in Cape Verde are kind of like seen as like, you know, they're honoured, and they do a lot for the society, and they're really hardworking, and they've done, you know, Santa Maria was named after the lady that brought water into their town for the first time. So I think that's like what this is meant to represent from what he said, or just like a Cape Verdean woman in general. But yeah, there were different like shapes and sizes and stuff, and I said like, which one should I get? And he said this one because it's like you, and I was like, I don't know whether to be offended or to that as a compliment. That like, but yeah, I got it because I don't know, just felt more personalised that he told me to get this one, you know, even though now I'm like, anyways, no, I love it, I think it's awesome, and it's not a purchase that I regret, but it did just turn into like an inside joke the entire trip after that, because we just kept being on the search for the items that the uncle handcrafted in Cape Verde, when really they were just all shipped in from Senegal. And we actually did ask our tour guide on one of the days that we did a day trip, if this was the case, and he said yeah. So yeah, but do you know what, like it's like in the UK, like expecting, I don't know, to be fair, I wouldn't expect a magnet in London to be made in London, but this kind of thing, like when you think that you're getting something that's a little bit sentimental, a little bit special to the place that you're in, and then you find out it's actually made somewhere else, and it's like mass shipped in, and just like, you know, the prices are just, but I sound really annoyed. I'm actually not annoyed. I find it very funny that they do this in these kind of cultures, and but guys, all redeemed itself in the next item, and I'm gonna boast about it, don't worry. This is a nice trick. I can't imagine what this would sound like actually, so let's see. Also guys, I asked my nail tech to do my nails like this kind of pearly white, and to be honest, on this camera right now it looks like that, so I'm very happy with that, but in person it actually looks like rather pinkish. But yeah, right now it looks quite white, pearlish, which I'm very happy about. This is exactly what I wanted. Anyways, I'm trying to see if this is the last trigger. I did have some cigarettes that I was going to tap on this guy was trying to be charging me 30 euros. 30 euros or 3,000 escudos for this. I think that or not, because again, I can assure you this has been shipped in from wherever. I'm not even gonna expect it to be made in Cape Verde. I wish it had labels on it. No surprises there. Anyways, it is definitely like handcrafted. I've seen people crafting it, and actually, like, the quality is really, really nice. It's like this lilac-y colour, and yeah, I really like it. There's nothing really Cape Verdean about it, it's just very African. There's like these huts. This is actually, sorry, this is kind of Cape Verdean because this is one of the islands where it had the volcanoes, and the houses are made out of volcanoes at the bottom. And that's the map of Africa. There's like the pots. This is like the traditional like women and stuff. Actually, it is kind of Cape Verdean, but anyways, yeah. So I managed to get these for 8 euros from 30 euros because I said to the guy, I kept like, I was kind of being very light-hearted, and I was like, no stress, because we became like friendly, and I was like, 8 euros, and he was like, no, 30 euros, and I was like, 8 euros, and then I was like, leaving, I was like, I need to go, like, I need to get my flight, which wasn't a lie, and then he was like, okay, money, because I kept saying, like, no stress, 8 euros, and he was like, no, like, money, and then eventually he just basically gave in, and he was like, just give me money, like, just give me whatever you want to give me, just give it to me, but buy it. So, like, obviously people have different, like, opinions on that kind of thing, and some people will think I'm being really stingy. Girl, oh boy, I'm young, I'm not earning a lot, and these things do not cost 30 euros to make, and bro knew that, or bro wouldn't have sold it to me. That's the whole name of the game here, is haggling. Anyways, I got these for 8 euros, and that's the only reason why I got them, because honestly, I travel so much nowadays, and I'm going to travel to so many countries that I can't, literally space-wise, I can't afford to be buying so many stuff, and also I'm not going to use it. I'm not somebody who consumes for the fun of it, you know. I always get like a little souvenir, like even a ticket from something, a ticket from one of the places I went to on the day tour is on the back of my phone right now, and I'm going to keep that, like, and that's going to be one of my souvenirs. I'm lucky enough to have souvenirs from this trip, but I don't always get like a hardcore souvenir, so yeah. But yeah, this is really good quality. You can feel like the material is sturdy. I'm really excited to actually try these on and like wear them. I'll see if I wear them out. I might do. Depends how I style it, but I'm definitely just gonna wear them in the house at least, especially in the summer.